Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Welcome back to Brofluent. Shout out to our first-time listeners, our current listeners, all our listeners, everybody. But we are happy to be back, and we have some great news. I am a very, very happy man. But first off, Tom, how are you doing on this fine day?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. A lot of news popping off, a lot of crazy shit going on, Eric.
Oh, before we get into it, I'm going to need to take my moment, let it simmer down real quick. Hold up. Let's go! James Harden is a Brooklyn Net. Obviously, the breaking news that we had, full trade details brought to you by Brofluent here. Brooklyn Nets acquire shooting guard slash point guard, combo guard, whatever you want, scorer, 30 point per game scorer, James Harden,
Yes,
and a
sir.
2024 second round pick from the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Houston Rockets acquire Dante Exum, Radonis Kurucs, Victor Oladipo, 3 unprotected first round picks via the Brooklyn Nets, 4 first round pick swaps with the Brooklyn Nets, and a 2021 first round pick, 2022 first round pick via Cleveland from Milwaukee. The Indiana Pacers get Karis LeVert and a future second round pick. And the Cleveland Cavaliers acquire Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince. First off, Tom, what was your reaction when the news broke?
Man, it was definitely shocking. I definitely thought that Harden obviously was heading out of town and heading to Philly, but it ended up being Brooklyn, and they pulled it off. The 4 picks and, getting rid of Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen, it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Anytime you get a chance to get a top 10 player, and on our list, he's like a top 7 or 8 player in
Right.
James Harden, you got to take that chance. For Houston, I thought it made a lot of sense too. A guy who wants out of town, who's a star, you got a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good haul back. And you pulled off with the Pacers where you have Victor Oladipo now. So now you have Wall, Oladipo, Cousins, the all injured team, as me and you were talking about. But,
Right.
they still got talent. So, they'll be competitive. It's a nice little roster. For Cleveland, at first I was like, why are they even involved? But then when you look at it, they only had to give up like Dante Exum and a second round pick, and they get Jarrett Allen. That's a pretty good move by them. Now it's weird because they're log jammed with bigs, right? So now we have to assume that Andre Drummond's gonna be out of town. So if
Right.
he's out of town, then the deal makes a lot more sense. If he stays, then it's a little log jam. But the winner of the trade, in my opinion, has to be Brooklyn because you get the best player. Now you have a
Mm-hmm.
big 3 of Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. I put on Twitter, is this the biggest big 3 you've ever seen? What do you think?
I completely disagree with that because I don't think we're better than the Warriors were. I don't think it's us in Miami's a conversation, but we have to see
Mhm.
how it works out first. So like I don't want to knee jerk and do all these things. Obviously, I'm hype. All right.
Right.
Obviously, like I was already talking championship on here before, and now I got James Harden to include in that. But there's a lot of question marks. Will we be able to defend? How much is Kyrie and James Harden going to have their give and take? We're going to have the Kyrie situation we talk about a little later. But all in all, it seems like a good move because I think you're probably going to have Joe Harris come off the bench, start Jeff Green for some defense, and let KD move to the 3 to be a little more have some length. Pause.
Right.
But, but to have some more length. And I mean, I don't the big deal to me, everyone that's making it about the picks of, oh, that's 8 picks, hadn't the Nets learned already? That's insane to me because they gave up 3 unprotected first, so they lost 3 picks.
It's not 8. It's not like 8 unprotected picks.
Right, it's 3 unprotected picks in 2022, which we expect them to be good in 2022, so that doesn't really matter. Then 2024 and 2026. Then the swaps, they still have a pick that year.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to depend on if we are worse than Houston. If they switch the pick, and how I'd say I don't expect Houston to be good for at least the next. I mean, look, they're going to contend this year. They might make the playoffs. They might not. John Wall's still going to be on that team for what, two more years after the season? So you got John Wall for 2 more years. He's not going to let you be a bum unless you get rid of him. But who's going to trade for John Wall in that contract?
He's there for a couple of years.
You still have Christian Wood. And I'm assuming you're trying to re-sign Oladipo. So they're going to have a late lottery pick and say, we shit the bed. If we swap, we're going to have a late lottery pick.
Right.
Because we both wouldn't be in the playoffs. Obviously, yes. Oh, well, they would get they can get a number 1 pick if you guys suck and take it. Yes, but we've been here before. Karis LeVert was a late 20s. Jared Allen was 19 or something like that. Spencer Dinwiddie was a free agent. Like, Sean Marks knows how to work his way around the roster. We traded a late pick that turned into Kyle Kuzma for D'Angelo Russell. Like, you can maneuver with late firsts. So I don't want to say that's a big deal. And on your point with the Cavs, they did give up a first in the deal. Obviously, it's a late first. It's Milwaukee's, and it's between this year and next year, I'm pretty sure. And I think they kind of got equal value. Like, you turn Dante Exum, a first and a second, into Jared Allen and Taurean Prince.
Yeah.
So I'd say my big winner, though, is Indiana. A lot of people aren't talking about that. Karis LeVert for Victor Oladipo, and I get a second-round pick, too. That's equal value because I don't have to re-sign Oladipo to his contract, and Karis kind of gives me exactly what Vic gives me anyway. And he's healthy, and he's younger. So my Pacers are definitely a winner. Jared Allen is a big loser. I want to talk about that. Obviously not him personally, but like he's a big loser in this deal to just go to all of a sudden be in the – Cleveland's not in the basement yet, but you know they're not really contenders or doing anything.
No, it's Cleveland is such a weird roster. You have, Garland and Sexton who – are we really going to call them?
Baby.
Are we really going to call them that?
Yeah, bro.
Is that like a real thing?
That's it. Larry Nance came out and tweeted Sexland surrounded by a bunch of trees.
I don't know how I feel about calling them Sexland. I don't know how I feel about that. Hey, but man. Yeah, like what he said, he's a complete right. You have a bunch of bigs and then a couple guards. So very weird roster. Now, when you talk about it seems, and I saw it on Twitter, it seems now that they're going to have to move on from Andre Drummond. Not sure who's in the market for Drummond. I mean, there'll be suitors, but just not sure at the moment. They're going to have to move off him if they, think Allen is their future. But still, you still have a lot of bigs. You have Nance, Jared Allen, Thon Maker, Kevin Love.
JaVale
McGee, and probably a couple other guys that we don't know. Like, a lot of bigs still, so very weird roster.
100%. But I got a big question for you.
All right.
Are we the favorites? We're the title favorites now, or no?
I think you have to be. Because, we talked about this, how we loved coming into this season and last season, how it's duos. It was 2 versus 2. LeBron and AD versus Kawhi and PG. When Clay's healthy, you got Steph and Clay, Dame and CJ. You got all these duos. Now you got that big 3 again. You have the Wade, Bosh, Bron, KD, Curry, Thompson. That kind of feel to it. Now I think you were right. They're not Curry, Thompson, and Durant. It's not that. But it's probably more like Wade, Bosh, and Bron, I think. It's similar to that. So I think anytime you have 3 superstars, you've got to be the favorite now. The Lakers are playing great basketball, just leading off from their championship last year. So they are going to be, them and New York are just going to be like this. Or Brooklyn, I should say. Sorry, not New York. Them and Brooklyn are going to be like this. But I think Brooklyn edges them out just a little bit as the favorites now.
See, I actually disagree. I still think the Lakers.
No, aren't you?
I still think the Lakers.
As a Net fan, you're going to say no because you don't want the pressure of being the favorite.
It's not that. I'm telling you why. It's because I want to see. I have a big question that a lot of people are standing by. Look, we're the favorites in the East, no doubt. That's no question. I'm not going to take that pressure off. You have to get to the finals. Like last time we were talking about them, I said it wasn't championship or bust yet. Now that we have James Harden, it is, you got to go to the finals. You have to.
Yeah.
Like, you have no excuse. I mean, barring an injury or barring Kyrie not playing or getting to the playoffs and having an issue or something like that, everyone healthy, you need to get to the finals. But I wouldn't say we're the favorites yet because the Lakers are the defending champions. The Lakers do have the best duo in the league, even though we have our big three. And we need to find defenders. We're already a bad defensive team. And our best defenders on the team, if we're going to be honest, are Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan, and Bruce Brown. And then like a long shot is TLC.
Right.
So that's you're not. Who's going to guard Giannis? That's the biggest question I keep hearing. Who's going to guard Giannis? Who's going to guard Giannis? And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I want to say Kevin Durant, but Giannis is a lot more physical than Kevin Durant. Giannis is putting his shoulder into him. And I'm not saying KD can't check him.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that you're going to need to provide help, and that's going to leave Brook Lopez open in the corner a lot.
And I don't know if you want KD guarding Giannis the whole game, foul trouble, all that shit that comes with it.
Right. And then the other question is, how are you going to guard Joel Embiid? Because DeAndre Jordan, yes, look, I don't want to be like other people and be like, oh, he's ancient. He's a shell of himself. DeAndre Jordan is a career 9.5 point per game scorer. And
he dunks the ball.
11. Exactly. He averages 9.5 points, almost 11 rebounds, and a block and a half. Yeah. This year he's averaging 6, and 1 so far, but he's never averaged less than 10 rebounds. And with Jared Allen gone, I expect him to continue that. You know what I mean?
I would think so.
But I'm not going to put him one-on-one with Joel Embiid. I'm not going to put him one-on-one with Anthony Davis. Help needs to come at some point.
How funny is it that everyone's saying, immediately after the trade, after everyone's like, oh my God, Harden's a Rocket. It's what is LeBron thinking right now?
Oh my God.
Everybody making about what is LeBron thinking.
I'm so happy that you said that. Because now I need a rant. Everyone get ready, prepare yourselves. All right.
Rant time.
This has nothing to do with LeBron fucking James. Do not be like K Perk and be like, oh, if Bron beats this team, he'd a GOAT. Bro, can they get on the floor together first? You can't tell me on one hand, this team doesn't look like it's going to work, and we don't know if they're going to come out the East. We don't know if they'll beat Milwaukee. We don't know if they'll do this. We don't know if they'll even beat the Clippers. But then all of a sudden, on the other hand, you're like, oh, but if Bron face him, yep, that's GOAT time. He's stressing. Look at everyone move to the East. Look at all the, oh my God. I want to say something that I'm not going to say, but it starts with suck my, and we're going to leave it at that. All right, because some of y'all are being ridiculous, and you need to get this man's participle out of your orifice. You feel me? Look at those thesaurus words to keep this a little cleaner than usual, right? This is insane, bro. It has nothing to do with Bron. Let him do his own thing. He's still the champ. He's still the best player in the league. He's got it. But they did not get together because they're scared of LeBron James. I'm going to tell you that right now.
You're right that it doesn't have anything to do with LeBron. But I just think it's funny how we all think of LeBron immediately because it's right, the Warriors lost to LeBron. It seemed like, okay, maybe we need Kevin Durant. It's not like the Nets played LeBron recently or have anything with LeBron where it's we might need Harden for this.
And that's the other narrative I want to shut down too. I already saw people going, yo, Kevin Durant is the most helped superstar in the history of the NBA. Let's get this out of the way. The Golden State shit, we have both said this. Draymond called him, bro. Mm-hmm. If I know that people I have played with in the summer that are nice, mm-hmm. I know people in another school, they call me, they say, hey, bro, transfer here, and I'm not happy with my situation, I have no problem leaving. That doesn't make me a bitch for leaving. It means I don't want to play with these guys anymore. I would rather play with these guys. That's all that was. This one, he went to Brooklyn with Kyrie because he wanted to play with Kyrie. And then Kyrie did some nut shit. So James said, hey, you mind if I come over there? Yeah, sure, bro. Come over here. Don't like, we're not going to act like KD's this mastermind of like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to get all my rings stacking the fucking deck on everybody. Like,
you're right. But I think,
that.
like, I don't think, obviously, because he would never think like Kevin Durant would never think to himself, oh, I need help to beat LeBron. He would never think that. He thinks of himself as the best player in the NBA. He's the second best player behind LeBron, but he thinks of himself as the best. So he's like, right, he doesn't need anybody. But he's not in control of, you know, maybe he is a little bit of what the roster looks like, right? Like, this comes down to Marks and maybe Nash a little bit or whoever is involved in that decision. But does it hurt KD's legacy? Again, it's not his fault. But now he went to the Warriors and he won his rings. And we said it was kind of unfair. But listen, we understand that KD is the second best player in the world, hands down. He can beat anybody any given day. He's amazing. 100%. But now he's got another team that's got 3 superstars. And he wins another 2 rings, right? So he's got 2 there, 2 here. It's still the narrative which he was trying to get away from, which is that, oh, I need help to win a ring. Like, he goes to Brooklyn to say, I got another superstar with me. That's fine. We can have 2. I can still do it my way. I'm still the best player in the team. He's still the best player in the team. But now he's got 2 other superstars, which was the same thing in Golden State. Does it hurt him because he's still saying, I still haven't done it by myself technically?
I'm going to tell you why it doesn't hurt him. It's solely because, and obviously we're going to get into this later, Kyrie made the Nets panic. And I think he made KD panic too. And it's no disrespect. He's a very open guy. Like, I don't want to say he's wild, but he does what he wants on his term. He's very, I don't want to say sensitive, but like y'all figure out what word is appropriate for that. Cause I don't want to offend him and I don't want to say that about him. Cause I don't know the guy.
Let's just say he's open-minded.
Yeah, he's open-minded. He's very in touch with his feelings, if anything. So he could tend to go a little haywire. And I think KD saw that with both of them. Kyrie is injury-prone. KD's coming off a catastrophic injury. And Spencer Dinwiddie just got hurt. So it was time to give himself some insurance of, hey, if you don't play and you do what you do, all power to you. You are my guy. You are my brother for life. All this, I'll catch you. Let me know if you want to play together again, if you feel like coming back and you're in the right space. But I'm still trying to win a ring. And if I have James, I think I can do that with just us 2. That's how I see it. And in the Warriors situation, I've already said that, like, yo, if you call me and I'm not happy where I'm at, I'm leaving. Don't judge me for leaving and what I'm doing. Like, I'm clearly not. We've seen so many people be unhappy playing with Russell Westbrook. And that's going to be a knock against him on his legacy and why he doesn't end up with a ring. No disrespect to him. He's still top 30 all time.
Fantastic player.
Yeah. 100%. But to me, that doesn't hurt KD's legacy at all because I feel like we still all have him top 15. And if he gets a few rings and if he does it in New York, first off, Brooklyn Nets have never seen a title. Only ABA titles, Dr. J. Now, New York itself hasn't seen a basketball championship since 1973. That is a heavy championship, no matter what you did to get it. And we've
said that. Go ahead.
And I said, and people wanted Bron to do that in 2010 when they wanted Bron to come and be a part of it. So it's not, I don't think that hurts his legacy at all. And I think it's the same way. It's the same way as saying Bron's rings in Miami don't count. Right. And I don't think that's fair.
And we talked about how Brooklyn is such a cool place if they were to have a great team like this. Like, the city would be buzzing. We know the arena's dope. Like, it would just be an electric place to be. Obviously, COVID kind of puts a damper on that at the moment. But, you know, once everything's in full swing again, hopefully at some point, like, that place is going to be jumping. Like, imagine Brooklyn when they're in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the finals.
It's gonna be
that place is going to be wild.
100%. So and we have a championship parade to go to. We have that bet. Don't forget that.
Hopefully not. It's really crazy, man. I was shocked to see it just overall. Definitely shocked. Now, a last thing before we move on, but do you think, just obviously you don't know yet, do you think they can all play together on the floor at the same time, like, and it works? Or do you, I think Kyrie and Durant can play together at the same time. We've seen it early.
Mm-hmm.
I think Harden and Durant can play together at the same time. Durant can play with anybody anywhere. We saw that when he went to Golden State. But can Harden, who we know if he doesn't have the ball, he's not necessarily doing a lot out there. He's great with the ball in his hands. He's not just a spot-up shooter. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. So can Kyrie and Harden play at the same time? What do you think that's going to work out?
Well, here's how I think it's going to work out, just by my best guess, all right? I'm assuming that when they're all on the floor, and they said that this move was Sean Marks came out today and said that this move was approved by both players, like Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
And it had nothing to do with Kyrie not being there.
It had nothing to do with Kyrie not being there, and they were cool with it. Like, they both said it, and supposedly Kyrie's on the track. He's getting COVID tests and stuff like that, and that might be the holdup. But again, we're going to get to that later. But with them playing together, I think James Harden's going to be the third wheel when they're all on the court together. And I think James Harden's going to get the Karras treatment with that when the bench comes in. So that when James needs to rest in the middle of the game, put it this way, they're going to pull KD and Kyrie out first. They're going to let James wall out with the second team. Then they're going to let James come out, probably let KD wall out with the second team, throw Kyrie back in the end of half.
Get Kyrie back in.
And then do that rotation until it gets to the fourth quarter where I put all three of them out there. So that's what I think's going to happen.
That's what you would think.
Based off how they've been playing this year. Because obviously no one's coming off the bench outside of Joe Harris. But Joe Harris is going to get his minutes. You're going to need to put Jeff Green. Get
20-plus minutes.
You're going to still need to put Jeff Green out there to cover defensively, along with DeAndre Jordan.
Jeff's been playing well, too, I thought.
He's been a great... He's in a perfect role where he's a 4, a 5. He's a wing defender. He's a perimeter defender, and he's a post
score
defender.
A little bit. He could do a little bit of everything.
Shoot threes. Still have Landry. Still have Bruce Brown that's going to contribute. Hopefully TLC goes back on the up track because the last few games I have not liked what I've been seeing from him, even though I was a big fan at first. And people are forgetting Nick Claxton as a 7-footer that's been out because of an injury prior to the bubble that he's been rehabbing. And Spencer Dinwiddie, since his ACL is a partial tear, they're saying if it's rehabbed enough, he's considering playing the playoffs. So if we get into the playoffs and we add Spencer Dinwiddie to that mix, that could make it really dangerous. So I think they'll be able to do it, but I want to see, and that's why I'm not saying favorites or anything like that. I'm just saying, let's see how you play people with a dominant big. Let's see how y'all eventually play defense, and let's see y'all put it together when it's there, because you have 60 games to do it.
You're right, man. Absolutely.
So that's that. I think we can breeze through some trade grades because I think we have the Brooklyn side done. But there is a lot of other stuff to unpack. We've talked about Cleveland a little bit, but I have some trade grades. I want to see what you think. I put my first impressions on Twitter, and to anybody that saw that, they're not that much different. I have Indiana at an A+ for getting LeVert for Oladipo and the pick. I have Brooklyn as a A- because of the defensive situation, the ball handling questions, and how much you had to give up. I understand you still gave up a lot. While I downplay the picks, you still gave up a lot of your future rights to be in control of it. Right. Houston, I gave a B+ because you replaced all the picks from the Russell Westbrook trade. You got Victor Oladipo, who's technically a star in this league and could probably contribute to put him with John Wall and Boogie Cousins and maybe get you to the playoffs, keep you in contention, and Christian Wood. I don't want to keep forgetting Christian Wood. And you gave up a disgruntled star, and that's really it. You didn't really give up anything else. I mean, you waived Bruno Caboclo, so please, oh my God, I should. It might have to be a D now because Bruno Caboclo is a guy. Right. In Cleveland, I gave a C+ because you get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince, but you have a logjam at the forward and center spot, and you gave up a first-round pick that you really didn't need to give up while you're already playing good. So I guess they're assuming Drummond's out the door, so it's a C+ because you didn't really need to get involved, but you did okay.
Right.
So how you feel about
I
that?
think this is. I like your grades. I think I would bump Cleveland up to maybe like a B minus, maybe even a B. I think this is one of the rare times we've seen that a trade has kind of worked out for everybody at the moment, right? Obviously, in the future, say if Brooklyn fell apart, they'd be, oh, what a horrible trade. But at the moment,
Right.
it's like Brooklyn got that third star, puts them right in title contention, even if they were already. Now it's like them and the Lakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Houston gets rid of a star who was obviously causing problems in the locker room. It was obvious that Cousins and Wall, maybe like they weren't getting along with Harden. And Cousins was like, I only came here to play with John Wall. He said that, like, so obviously there was some stuff going on in the locker room. They get him
100%.
out of there. They bring in a star who, in Oladipo, who is coming back. Like, he's not fully himself yet, but a guy who we saw in the Eastern Conference semifinals, 2 years ago, leading a team that was dangerous. Like, Oladipo is no joke when he's
Two-time
healthy and ready
All-Star
to
at the
go.
end of the day. Two-time
Like,
All-Star. So
he's a baller, so it works out for them. They get all these picks for the future. If Brooklyn were to fall apart, which I don't think will happen, but if they were, if something was to happen, they are set up beautiful for the future. I thought they worked out very well. You're 100% right with Indiana. Getting rid of Oladipo, who, since he's got there, it's been rumors he's getting traded or he's going to leave. It's been on and off. He's been a good player there, but it's been on and off with him leaving. They get a younger guy, same position. I think who is a better scorer, probably not a better defender, maybe not a better playmaker, but a better scorer to go with Sabonis and Brogdon going forward.
right.
That's a steal because Oladipo was going to be leaving anyway, I think.
And
So that's a really good deal for them.
We even have news right now that despite getting traded to the Rockets, Victor Oladipo is still interested in joining the Miami Heat. So that
Because
kind
he
of
is a free agent at the end of the year.
Right. So that kind of throws a wrench in it on if we're going to bring him back. So I think the question off of that is I would have gave the Rockets an A+ if they kept Karras. I don't understand why you get rid of him.
That's a good point. I don't know why Karras was moved.
I think he's a great
they're
fit
trying to,
too.
I think they're trying to match up the ages, like Wall, Depot, Cousins, Wood. The ages kind of match up. I mean, we could always go younger. I don't see a problem with that. But, maybe they thought a guy who's already a star, and LeVert is not a star yet. He has the potential to be. And then lastly, the Cavs, I'd give them a B too because, listen, you didn't give up much. In Cleveland, you're never going to get free agents. So to get a guy like Jared Allen, it's pretty good for them. Hopefully they move on for Drummond and they get a little bit back for him. Allen's their starter going forward. You have Garland, Sexton, Allen. Who did they get in the draft this year?
Isaac Okoro, my guy. Told y'all that.
And he's been playing pretty well for them.
Jimmy Butler 2.0, bro. Watch.
So, that kind of gives them a little core. That gives them a core going forward. So I actually thought it worked out. It wasn't like someone got robbed, like, oh, we just stole him. Like, it was nothing like that. It seemed to work out pretty well for everybody, I think. At the moment. Obviously, hindsight's going to be 2020, but
right. I don't disagree with what you'd say much because my only thing with Cleveland is losing Drummond for Jared Allen is going to be a big drop off. And as watching the guy for years, he's good. He's really good. Great defender. Like, he's very Rudy Gobert-ish, though. He's gonna get his points around the rim. He's gonna rebound.
Yeah.
But he's never really gonna be an offensive weapon outside of setting screens and getting offensive boards.
Yeah.
Hopefully that can change. I mean, obviously, I still love the guy, the Fro.
He's extended his range a little bit.
He can shoot. He can hit a mid-range at a semi-consistent basis.
Yeah, I don't trust it, but he's tried to improve on it, but it's not his game.
For Cleveland, I see him being a little more of like a better version of Tristan Thompson. And Tristan was very good for them, so it's a very good, very, very good thing to put together there. But I mean, I'm just not buying it yet if you're letting Drummond walk out the door. I got to see what you get for Andre, because if we're assuming he's getting traded, him and K-Love got to get moved now.
Yeah, that'll be important.
And for Houston,
K-Love's had to be moved 2 years ago.
That's true. He's been hurt the last 2 years, though, so it's been hard to move.
Yeah, that's true. He's hurt every year. That's true.
But lastly, with Houston, the only thing I would say is if you kept Karras and Christian, you could have had a young core. and still had all those picks, and say you get someone that's an X factor or something, like you get a Cade Cunningham first all of a sudden somehow, some way, and you add him with Karras and Christian Wood, you're a young up-and-coming team, and you have a whole slew of picks to trade for another star and put in there. But
yeah, it is weird, but I guess they like the feel of, Oladipo.
I mean, hey, when he's playing for Miami next year, they could say what they want.
They'll regret that, yeah.
And they're looking at trading PJ Tucker too. I mean, I feel like that's a little anecdote, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we were texting about that. He'll be a solid, if he does get traded, he'll be a solid role player for a team.
Right. I agree. Well, I feel like we don't want to verbally vomit on y'all with Brooklyn, just because I'm a Brooklyn fan, all right? Yeah. Like, it's been a lot. You understand. You've heard it from everybody else. You've got what we had to say, but it's time to move on to something also related with Brooklyn, and something that a lot of people, especially people we know, have had a lot of strong opinions on, come out, said a lot of things, and I just want to get our perspective a little bit on the Kyrie Irving situation. He hasn't played 5 games now, still because of personal reasons. He's been seen partying at his sister's 30th birthday party. All right, he's not at the strip club. He's not with James.
Right.
He's been seen on a Zoom call for a political fundraiser, I believe. And he hasn't been in the building, and there's been rumors that the Nets are mad, and he's upset about stuff, and basically a whole shit show going around with him. So how do you feel about the situation?
So this one is tough, man, because it's like we don't know the reason yet, or we might never know. Kyrie might give to himself. We don't know the exact reason that he's not playing these games right now. He hasn't come out and said, "Oh, it's because of I have a family issue I need to tend to," or, with the social problems we have in the world today, I'm doing something with that. So he hasn't said. Now we think it could do something with social reform and everything, and which if he's doing that, that's great, right? More power to you. If you can do something like that, that's great. But the part that confuses me is, why can't you still play basketball while you do that? You have a contract, you have teammates, you have bosses. Steve Nash is your coach. He's also your boss. Like, if you're working in a business, you can't just be like, I'm out. Like, I'm not feeling it right now. Like, they'd be like, we need a reason, man. Like, if it's something that we could say, okay, you can take some days off for, then all right. So he's kind of fucking the Nets right now, not giving Nash and the boys. He might have told like KD on the low or his teammates on the low, but the public, we don't know shit. So I'm just a little confused and we know Kyrie comes with some baggage, right? He's a little, as we said before, open-minded, thinks outside the box, tends to do some weird things. So it's like, and we heard Stephen A go off on First Take about Kyrie should retire. Obviously, I don't believe that. We know Stephen A has strong opinions. I don't believe he should retire, but I think you gotta give us why you're not playing. And if it's not a valid reason, it's like, bro, you're getting everybody twisted right now. Like, you got to be out there playing. You told KD, you come to Brooklyn, me and you, we're gonna win a ring. Like, you can't just let down your teammates. You signed it rubs me the wrong way, and I don't want to be like disrespectful if it's something that's with the social problems today. Then like, all right, you do you. But in my opinion, you could still play basketball, and after the game's over, you could go do whatever you need to do.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? That kind of goes off something that I would want to ask you before I get into it. And how would you feel if you're KD? Because you obviously mentioned that. And if you're Kevin Durant, obviously you came to Brooklyn because Kyrie suggested Brooklyn. And maybe KD would have came here anyway, but they were a package deal and it didn't matter where they were going. So Kyrie having his New York and New Jersey connections going to Brooklyn is, does sound like his move.
Yeah.
It always sounded like his move. So if he basically brought KD here, how would you feel as Kevin Durant that he has not been playing during this?
Listen, I'm assuming because they have said they're close friends that he has told Kevin Durant, probably maybe he's not told. I'm assuming he's told Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant's either said, as his good friend, all right, you go do you, or he's a little pissed off about it. But if I'm putting myself in this situation and he hasn't told me, like, I just know he's gone for personal reasons, I'm definitely a little pissed off. Like, all right, if you took a game off, all right, like, whatever, man, I don't care. People rest all the time for games.
Mm-hmm.
But, now it's been a week. You're not playing the rest of this week, they said. You said there's rumblings him getting tested for COVID. He could be back in the upcoming week. But if he's not back again after that week, it's like, bro, this is a shorter season. We're playing 72 games, I believe, this year.
Right.
And we got to work some things out. Yeah, we got firepower. But guess what? Now we got Harden. We need to be on the court together, figuring this shit out before playoff time comes. It seems like basketball is not necessarily Kyrie's first priority. And it doesn't necessarily need to be, but you still need to show up to work. If I'm KD, if it's a game or two, it's cool. Listen, we rest all the time. But if it turns into weeks, I'm definitely feeling some type of way about it. And if you need to go, maybe you just need to go and let me and Harden figure this shit out.
Right. And hey, that doesn't go past me. Like I don't see that not being a real situation that's going on. But for me, I think this is turning into another media narrative. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Nets fan, but because, look, I love Kyrie growing up. And obviously I want him on the court and I want him to do what he's doing. And him sitting out, if it's because of the Capitol and social justice and everything like that, and the Attorney General in Kenosha, if he doesn't feel like he's in the mental space to give basketball 100%, I have no problem with him sitting out. Now, on the other end of it, the only thing I had a serious problem with was you have to tell your boss that and communicate it. And if the rumors are true that there hasn't been much communication and Steve Nash never knew and he only told the players, that kind of gives me a respect level thing. Like, you didn't feel like you should tell me that you aren't going to play. To me, that's the only thing about it that's a big deal to me. But when it comes to everything else, should Kyrie be on the floor to get his money and do what he has to do, be Kyrie Irving and play the game he can? Yes. But like you said, I feel like this is a lot of shit we don't really know. Like, we don't know what's really going on with him. We don't know his personal issues. And when it comes to the COVID situation of him violating protocol and being at his sister's 30th, if I was in the dumps and I really felt like a mental strain was on me and I didn't want to do anything and I didn't even want to play basketball or do my job and I was in that dark of a place, I would probably go to my sister's birthday party to cheer up a little bit and see my friends. So I don't really hold that against him. On the other end, with the political fundraiser stuff, if that's true, they obviously have him on the Zoom call. I just don't know exactly what it's for. That's something where it ticks me a little like, yo, I get you're trying to get this done. I understand it. I get what you're focused on. But if you want to pull a Maya Moore, which we've championed her for what she did and helping that man get out of prison after being wrongfully accused, if that's what Kyrie wants to do and focus on social justice and focus on the political side of stuff, I do stand with Stephen A. on, bro, you have every right to retire and it is okay. But don't hold me hostage to pay you your $35 million and try to do both. If you want to do both, you do have to understand that during the basketball season, this has to be your main focus because that's what you get $35 million a year to do. Mm-hmm. But it's a slippery slope. It's a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Rumor is that Sean Marks said in an interview today that Kyrie is excited to come back. He's still going through the NBA investigation. He's testing negative for COVID every day right now. And he's in cahoots, I guess, with protocol and going through everything and trying to figure with the NBA and trying to figure out everything going on. I hope it gets solved soon. I hope he comes back to the court. But if the man doesn't want to play, I have no hard feelings to him. That's what he's going to do. But say you're taking the year off so we don't have to pay you because you can't have it both ways. But
yeah, I agree, man. It's just you can't just say personal reasons and just leave us out like that.
You can't leave your employer in the dark at the end of the day. Like, if there's communication and they know and it's just being blown out of promotion and it's a media narrative, like the media is gonna media. Like, Let the dude burn sage and get his mind right if that's what he needs to do. But just
right.
And you know what? If he does want to come back and he's just upset with the Nets because of the Harden thing and this and all, that's not true. I have no problem trading you, bro. It's no hard feelings. If you don't want to be here, you can go somewhere else. It's nothing. Like, I'm cool. But if I'm KD, like you said, I hope we have communication enough for him to know, because KD doesn't look like he's stressing.
No, he's just balling.
Yeah, so if Kyrie wasn't playing, I assume he'd be like sweating, like, bro, what the fuck did I come here for if you're going to do this?
Yeah.
But, hey, that sounds like everything basketball related right now.
That's our opinions on it.
Those are our opinions on it. I don't know what else there's anything to touch on, but we can be right back with some football and take a quick break.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Brendan Murphy, host of the Murphy's Law podcast. Every Tuesday and Friday, I bring you the latest news and notes from around the world of sports. We mostly cover baseball, football, and golf, and I bring in a lot of different guests to help me break down the biggest news of the week. If you're enjoying Brofluent, be sure to come and check out Murphy's Law every Tuesday and Friday, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you get your podcasts. I hope to see you there, and enjoy the rest of this episode of Brofluent.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that message from Murphy's Law. Per usual, go check them out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you can get your podcasts. Obviously, while you're following us, follow them, follow My Sports Radio, and shout out to everybody that supports us, all those people that champion us. Keep working to get us. We are almost at 100 total downloads. We're very close. So please get us to that point. I implore you. And then maybe if you get us to like 250, maybe we do a little giveaway or something.
Maybe.
Oh, and don't forget to follow.
We got to get there first.
And don't forget to follow Brofluent on Instagram at Brofluent. And
yes,
we're waiting for some questions. So if you want to email brofluent@gmail.com, you can also get a little insight.
Hesitate.
Get involved. Don't hesitate. And hop on this Zoom with us. You feel us?
Yes,
but something we touched on last episode but didn't get to do because it was that night. The college football championship happened. Alabama whooped that ass.
And I picked Ohio State. That was completely wrong.
And I picked Bama, you know.
You did, you did.
The usual, like, Tom's almost there, but, like, something gets in the way.
Okay. All right, that was a safe pick. Let's not, Alabama was a 9.5-point favorite, all right?
Well, they won 52-24.
Jesus Christ.
And the first question I have is, how good is Devontae Smith?
I'll tell you, I watched the first half of the game and I turned it off. I'm like, this game's over. And Devontae Smith at halftime, I believe it was like 12 catches, 215, and 3 touchdowns.
Those are exactly the stats.
Right?
Shout out to this guy's memory because it usually sucks.
Yep, that's true. I think he finished with that because he hurt his hand in the third quarter or whatever.
He didn't play in the second half.
Yeah, in the second half at all. This kid, for somebody who's not or doesn't at least look like a freak athlete, like he doesn't look like a Julio Jones or a Mike Evans. Is he statistically the best college wide receiver we've seen? Broke the SEC record in touchdowns, beat everybody in yards, catches, targets. The kid is absolutely disgusting. And the corner for Ohio State, right, was talking shit like Wade is like, he's like, oh, yeah, you know who I'm covering all day. And my boy had 12 catches and 215 and 3 TDs in the first half. That is mind-blowing. That kid is special. And, of course, when you're not that freak athlete, we're not sure how you translate to the NFL, right? You're not necessarily Jamar Chase, where it's like, oh, this dude's a big dude. Right. He can make but when you're just that good, I personally feel like it translates. Like, you're just so skilled. Like, you're always open. You're catching every ball. You're making plays. He's incredible, man. I saw so much love for him on Twitter from LeBron. Then even guys like Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, they were like, oh, this kid might be the best college receiver we've seen. Like, he is that level.
He is disgusting. And the way they have him schemed in, shout out Steve Sarkisian. He deserved that head coaching job for what Texas. He did with him. Yeah. Like, screen passes, short routes, long, deep routes. Did you see that post he ran with I don't know if he was the safety or the linebacker on OSU? The hefty white dude. I don't know, 32.
Yeah. Well, they kept putting a linebacker on him. I'm pretty sure sometimes it was
Bro,
like, what are you
he
doing?
was, and you know what? It's not shitting on the dude that was covering him, but he was booking it, and
To bend it.
Devontae was just like striding like a gazelle and just kept moving past him. And this dude, like, it's like the fillet, like running his whole ass off, and he just keeps getting further and further. Like, yo, he is nuts. I think he's gonna be crazy.
You know, I don't want to say he's the best college receiver ever because I don't necessarily know that much. Like,
yeah, I can't say that either.
Like, I can't say that. But in recent memory, he's put up stats like almost
we haven't seen
no
before.
one has. Yeah, almost no one has. So, I mean, the kid is special. You know, I saw people saying, should the Jets take him number 2?
That was my next question.
It's like, I don't know if I'll do all that, but in my opinion, he's the first receiver off the board in the draft.
You think he's the first receiver off the board?
I think you take him. If I'm a GM, I take him over Chase.
See, I'm of the opposite mindset. I still like him. Don't get it fucked up.
And that could be recency bias because LSU's been down and all that shit. You see Devontae Smith,
and he didn't play for y'all this year, so
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. So it's tough, but it's hard, man. The kid is incredible.
Since let's go right into the Jets taking him, because obviously when it comes to that, like, you know, we gotta touch on all my teams today. This is gonna be one of my favorite episodes. But with the Jets at 2, would I take them? I am really thinking about it. And my main reason is because, do you know who's picking at number 3?
The Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't want to see him in Miami.
No.
Nah,
that's scary for you. That's scary for you.
So I'm going to call people and say, hey, do you want to trade up to number 2 to get this kid and hope I can get Jalen Waddle or Jamar Chase later if I'm going at receiver?
That would make sense.
I'm just going to take him, and the only other person I'd consider taking over him other than Trevor Lawrence is Justin Fields. Not Justin. Whoa, my bad. Jamar Chase. Forget I said that. I didn't say Justin Fields. We're going to talk about him in a minute. Jamar Chase, because if they have Devontae, I'm going to have Jamar. And we're going to Calvin Johnson, Antonio Brown, the shit out of this division, all right? So,
listen, I'm of the mindset of the Jets at number 2. If they don't trade back, I truly think they should draft a lineman from Oregon. That's what I think they should do. At the moment, that's what I feel like. I think that kid, they talk about him as one of the best linemen coming out in, you know, the last couple of years. And we saw Quentin Nelson. What he did for the Colts was he changed the whole offense at the lineman position. Honestly, he changed our whole offense. So if you get a guy like that and you team him up with Becton, your offensive line is much improved, and your offense is going to be much improved, I think. Because we saw the Jets' offensive line not be that great this year. Becton, as a rookie, would you say he was your best lineman?
Yeah, no, 100%. He was probably our best lineman, and George Fant was probably second, who we signed to a 3-year deal and plays right tackle. So, like, I have no problem with Penei Sewell. I like him.
Yeah.
I got to watch more of him, though. It's hard to watch lineman highlights.
Yeah, we're not scouting linemen, but from everything I've heard, I believe the Jets would take him there because I just think that position is more important than a wide receiver, especially at number 2.
Yeah, no, I can get around for that. I'm just saying at number 2, I think we shouldn't go quarterback. I don't think so either. Yeah. Zach Wilson, and that gets into our next topic right away. Since we both love Devontae as much as we do, how much did Justin Fields hurt his draft stock?
You know, after the Clemson game, I was really impressed with him. The deep ball, especially. I mean, he threw a thing from the 40 straight to the goal line on a rope. I was like, oh, that was impressive. And I was really high, and I'm like, you know, maybe the Jets should think about taking him. And then I went back and I'm like, let me see what Sam Darnold did in what was technically the Rose Bowl. Boy threw for like 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. And I'm like, okay, so maybe this is just a college
So we've seen
thing.
this before.
Yeah, right. This is a college thing. We're playing bad defenses, QBs go off. And I told you, in college, it's about the competition. It's not about what he did against Northwestern. It wasn't his greatest game, but who cares? Ohio State probably doesn't care about Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
It matters what he does against Clemson and Bama. And in Clemson, he was impressive. Bama, again, I only watched the first half, but he was missing open receivers. And I've been saying, hey, if he's falling, the coach should think about it. And I don't want to react too much to one performance because he got injured the 2 weeks before that.
He was playing hurt. Yeah, he was playing hurt.
We don't know if that was hampering him, but he was missing receivers that were open. And I was like, ooh, that was a bad throw. Like some short, some long, some outside. Like there was a couple missed throws. And I'm like, that doesn't look like a quarterback who should be taken in the top 3 or 4 picks. If he falls, I think you take him. But if I'm somebody in the top 5, I don't think after that performance I take him. But I also don't think I'm taking Zach Wilson either, unless I need a quarterback.
See, that's my thing. I think you can still take him and sit him if he comes out. I would advise him right now. I don't know, and like people can correct me on this. Other than Spencer Rattler, I don't really know a quarterback that's supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, I don't know either. They always appear out of nowhere, it seems like.
Right. So with that being said, why would I push to be a top 10 to 15 pick right now? Stay in school one more year.
If it's going to be hard,
especially with COVID. I just think that's something he should consider because the gap between him and Zach Wilson got a lot smaller, and it's getting to the point where it's a pick 'em.
Yeah, a lot of people, including, so-called experts, I don't think Mel Kiper is an expert because we've seen him whiff on a lot of calls. He had Wilson, I believe, taken 4th by the Falcons and Fields taken 15th by the Patriots. I don't think there's that much of a gap between them that it's that drastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate the idea of taking a guy who hasn't necessarily played in big games. Like Justin Fields has played in big games. Zach Wilson really hasn't. So that kind of scares me a little bit.
Hey, he balled against Coastal Carolina, bro.
Like barely. It scares me with that. And of course, if you're moving up in the draft and you're early, you're probably looking for a quarterback. But if you heard Chris Ballard, the Colts GM today, he had his press conference today, and he said, I think you sent it to me.
Oh, yeah.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah.
He said, everyone's on me about taking a quarterback. But as soon as this quarterback plays and he's not exactly what you thought, I'm going to be fired. And he's exactly what he said. It's not about taking a quarterback. It's about picking the right quarterback.
Right one.
And he's 100% on the money with that. Wilson or Fields, maybe they could be the right quarterback. Maybe they can't. But if you're not sold on it, don't take them. Get a position that you need.
That's exactly how I feel. And a lot of people forget that because they talk about value of position and value of this and value of that. Well, the thing I'm going to tell you is if someone plays left tackle, that's a valuable position. But if you're the Giants and you take Andrew Thomas and in his rookie year he looks like shit, you're going to sit there and be like, oh, my God, why didn't I take receiver? Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb.
Daniel Jones don't look like he's it.
Why did I take Daniel Jones when I don't really need Daniel Jones? I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. Like people used to always talk about how the Giants needed a quarterback and they took Saquon Barkley over Sam Darnold. Well, no one says that anymore because clearly Saquon Barkley is a better player, even though his position is less valued than Sam Darnold.
I don't think people would even say if somehow they got Baker Mayfield. I don't even think it's that. Like, I'm probably still thinking Saquon.
The only argument you have, low-key, is between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. If I needed a quarterback that bad, throw one of them. And no one says their career goes the same way, obviously, because of what you have to do with them. But
and nobody knew Allen would turn into what he is right now.
Right. But I also feel that Fields did hurt his draft stock. I don't think it was that dramatic. I think he's still a top I have to watch more of this class. Like I know I've watched Trevor Lawrence. I've watched some Penei Sewell. I want to watch more Sewell. I haven't really watched Zach Wilson much. Obviously, we've seen Devontae Smith. We've seen Jamar Chase. And outside of that, like there's guys. I mean, Micah Parsons from Penn State, the pass rusher. But I don't know. I feel like we're getting towards draft territory once the playoffs get started. But
absolutely.
Before we get into that, quick hitter actually. It's a quick hitter, but it's on college football. Do you agree with Mac Jones when he says that this is the best college football team ever?
That's such a hard question because back in the day, you had teams, right, that you can't compare. You can't compare necessarily time periods. I'll tell you the team I think that you could compare them to, and it's the team last year,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
who I like
LSU.
comparing them to.
That's the only team you can compare them to. Both teams were so dominant throughout the year, but I don't think they're better than the LSU team of last year.
I don't think they were either.
You saw who did LSU beat? They beat
Clemson.
Clemson in the national championship, wiped the floor with them. We saw Alabama play a close game, I believe, with Florida this year,
Right.
and Kyle Trask put up big numbers against them. I can't remember if LSU was in a game like that.
I don't remember either.
I don't think they were. And when I look at positions, I think
It might have been
Burrow,
with Bama. It might have been with Bama.
It might have been with Bama, but I think when I start breaking down positions, it's Joe Burrow and Mac Jones, and I think that's, even though Mac Jones was a phenomenal college quarterback, I still think there's a pretty significant gap between Burrow and Mac Jones that would lead me to be taking LSU.
I'm just trying to think of like the history of teams. Those Miami Hurricanes teams,
Right?
Jimmy
You have old
Johnson,
Miami teams which were knocking people's heads off back in the day.
Those old Florida teams with Tim Tebow went to the national championship almost every year. Like, that's a hard thing to do,
It's
especially when I don't know. Like, you're borderline in the conversation. Like, I don't think.
Listen, you guys were dominant, absolutely, but I don't necessarily think this team is in that conversation. I don't think so.
I don't think they're solidified in that conversation. I think they have an argument to go in, like, oh, if Najee Harris, Mac Jones, we swept awards. No one else really did that. Like, that is, and no one else really did do that. Like,
Right.
You can't really, like, that is nutty.
It is crazy.
They swept all the
It's
positional awards, but I don't think you are better than LSU last year. No disrespect. I think LSU would have beat y'all.
Let's think and just think about the guys that are in the NFL right now. They're on the LSU team a year ago with Joe Burrow, who looks like absolutely a franchise quarterback.
Justin Jefferson,
an elite receiver. I believe Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was amazing for the Chiefs this year before he went down. Like, these guys have translated to the NFL. We'll see in time with Bama. But right now, I think you have to take LSU.
Even with Jamar Chase and Pat, and like let's talk about Bama's defense. Like, their defense wasn't that great this year. Like, Patrick Surtain going to the NFL, dope.
Right. Gave up what, like 40-something to Florida, right? What was that final score? It was ridiculously high.
Yeah, that was the only team that got close with them. But the point is, I mean, I like Dylan Moses a little bit. Like, he a good linebacker, but is Dylan Moses or Patrick Queen? Patrick Queen's year last year?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. Grant Delpit still kind of goes up against Surtain. Oh, and Stingley? Derek Stingley? Bro, that boy is dark.
Yeah.
That boy is dark. So I'd give it to LSU, and if I'm giving it to LSU, I don't feel that you're really in the conversation because you have the Miami teams, all the other teams we mentioned, bro.
I've got a question for you about it. Nick Saban, is he to go?
It's him or Bear Bryant. No one else has done this.
And how long can he keep doing this, you think? Or how long till he says...
As long as he wants to.
Right? It seems like as long as he wants to. What is he's going to go out on top, you would think. Is there any chance he retires?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but there's rumblings.
He might. He got COVID twice this season. He was out twice with it. So I think that
just got Bill O'Brien
as offensive coordinator. Maybe maybe you come over to be the head coach. I could see that. Bill O'Brien is an established college coach. And what was the other thing with Saban though? Shit, I went blank.
I'll take over for you while you think. It's crazy to think that you see Bama. If you see a guy go down on Bama, 5-star, going to be a draft pick.
Oh,
guy who comes
that's it. Hold up. Not to interrupt. Gotta get it out. Do you know that every player that he has recruited to Alabama has won a national championship now?
Yeah, that's absurd.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Imagine, and we've sat in rooms with coaches after recruiting visits and stuff. We look them in the face, and obviously they give you the same stuff of, we're bringing guys in, we're seeing what you do, we like you, we want you here, you think contribute all this stuff, right? Now, what do you say when the coach goes, well, everyone I have had has won a national championship, so you're going to win. It's determined by you how much you play because you're going to win.
That's mind-blowing.
That is
absolutely mind-blowing.
I'm looking like, yo, I'm at least getting one ring.
And that's why they are the program they are. They will get, what I was saying was, a 5-star goes down, the guy coming off that bench is another 5-star recruit who's just sitting, waiting his time.
And it's because of that pitch. I'm telling you, it's got to be because of that pitch. Hey, yo, you're going to win a championship.
The pictures online you see are ridiculous. You see a room that has Jalen Hurts, Tua, and Mac Jones. And that's 3 NFL quarterbacks who look like, Mac Jones going in this year. Then you have rooms where it's Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram. And you're like, what the hell are they like? They're just breeding NFL players and national championships.
Right. But then even you see some of the rooms where they weren't the strongest, where it's like AJ McCarron and Greg McElroy. And you're like,
right. Backups. You got backups
winning?
in the league.
It's not even that they're still fucking winning with Greg McElroy and AJ McCarron. Like that. Hey, yo, that is really nuts. Shout out to Bama, bro. That's why you don't doubt them. That's why you don't doubt them.
And I hate to say it because I thought Clemson was getting close, but I think the gap is back to being pretty wide again with Trevor Lawrence leaving Clemson and Bama dominating this year. I think it's going to go back to Bama because we've said, Clemson might overtake Bama as that number 1 program every year.
Get the fuck out of here.
It ain't close anymore.
Not till Saban retires, like you said. I do want to see that QB they have, though. He was nice against Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame won that game.
Yeah. He's going to be great.
He's Hawaiian, right?
He's got a crazy last name, like
DJ. Yeah, that's why.
Right?
That's right. It's like Walale. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he looked good.
Hey, yo, just that I tried to pronounce it doesn't make me fucked up. I don't know how to say it. I'm pretty sure it starts with a U. All right.
It's a long ass last name. Give him a
break. Leave me alone. All right. I could say Tagovailoa and Atentakumpo.
Damn right.
Next, from the college ranks to the NFL, Urban Meyer is finalizing a deal to become the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. Obviously, we have both said we don't really like him going to the NFL, but if you're the Jaguars, why the fuck not?
If you're the Jags, it makes sense. You get a guy who's at Florida. I don't know if he was born there or something.
I didn't even think of that.
He's got all these ties to Florida and the state. Now he's coming to Jacksonville. He's obviously a good coach. Anywhere he go, he's won. The question is when he leaves, it tends to not end so well. And with his heart problems or his whatever problems he has, that's going to be tough in the NFL. And I've heard people who have been around Urban say, yeah, I think he was great in college because he could control everything. In the NFL, I don't know if that's going to work so much because these guys are making more money than you. And, they're grown men. They do what they want. You're not controlling everybody. So it's an interesting hire. It'll be interesting to see what happens. As a Colts fan, I hate to say this. I hope it doesn't work out.
Well, of course.
As a fan, I hope it doesn't work for Jacksonville. But Urban Meyer, I wish the best because I think he's a good coach. It makes sense for Jacksonville. It's a flashy hire for a team that doesn't have anything flashy.
I agree. I want to see what the money looks like. I'm expecting this to break the bank. I think pulling him out of the booth, 12 plus.
A year.
I think it's gonna be 12 plus.
Insane.
And how do you as a player sit there knowing your coach gets paid oh my God, probably 10 times the amount guaranteed? Yeah. Especially in Jacksonville. You definitely got to listen to that guy.
You definitely have to. I'll be interested to see what his staff looks like.
Yeah, I'm interested. We'll be watching. It's very interesting. Obviously, we have our reservations, but it's Urban Meyer. Welcome to the NFL. And you know what? Jacksonville's not in my division, so I don't really have to worry. But hopefully they take Justin Fields and make me happy.
That would be wild.
I mean, it's kind of out there now, but maybe they do it.
Ties.
Maybe they do it. Even though he was giving me a little Dwayne Haskins vibes in the game, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
he's just like the rest of them.
There's no way they don't take Lawrence. No way.
All of a sudden you're looking at Justin Fields' missed throws and you're like, oh my God, Braxton Miller, G.T. Barrett, Cardell Jones.
Is that you're just going down the list?
Just going down the list like that big Browns jersey they used to have before they got to Baker. But anyway, Irvin's there. Hopefully that works out, and hopefully the Jets get one of these guys ASAP. I'm gonna keep checking my phone and hope it happens. Oh, but we'll see. All right, but NFL divisional games.
Yes, sir.
We got some predictions. I know y'all were waiting on it. Oh, guys,
Yep.
when are you dropping it? Oh, guys, come on. Tell us. Like, we need to know. We need to get our bets in time. Say it before Saturday. Fine. All right.
Fine. We will.
So our first game, we're not doing spreads. So
Not
whatever
doing
the
spreads.
spread is,
It's
you're
the
on your
playoffs.
own.
There's only a couple games left. We don't need to keep track anymore.
we'll tell you what we expect it
Yeah.
to look like.
Yes.
All right. Rams are going to Lambeau to see Aaron Rodgers in our first game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Donald is expecting to play. We have Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Smith. Again, this guy. Devontae Adams. But
that's a matchup.
That is a matchup. Aaron Rodgers versus a healthy-ish Jared Goff. They're saying he looks good.
Wofford's out. His backup is Blake Bortles.
Yo, shout out the Blake train. Back in the game. Balake. Like, hey.
I'll tell you what I think. I love the matchup of Ramsey and Adams. That's gonna. I might be watching that on the outside more than I'm watching Aaron Rodgers with the football. I might just be looking at them because we've seen Ramsey just shut down receivers.
This whole season.
Adams is arguably the best one in the league right now. Obviously, it helps that he is the best quarterback in the league, but what he does is incredible. So that's going to be a hell of a matchup. Aaron Donald, who's he's been playing and he's as dominant as ever, but he is a little hurt, but he will be going, so he's going to be a terror. But it comes down to the Rams' offense and Jared Goff. With injured finger or not, he's not very good. Mm-hmm. Now, the Packers don't necessarily have a shutdown defense, but I think they have good enough defense to slow down the Rams. They will have to be careful of Cam Akers. He ran all over the Seahawks last week. We know the Packers have struggled in recent years, especially come playoff time, stopping the run. The 49ers have beat them, the last 2 years or something, with just running the ball down their throats. So they kind of look like a 49er team with Jimmy Garoppolo, but it's Jared Goff. But I think the Packers are a little bit different this year.
Do we know if Cooper Kupp's playing?
I haven't heard anything about Kupp. I would assume he is playing.
Hey, for all y'all better, stay tuned for that. That's going to be a big thing. Because, we're going to put Jair Alexander. You're going to put him on Kupp. You're going to put him on Woods. If Kupp's not playing, he's clearly on Woods, though, if Kupp's not playing.
Oh, yeah, obviously. But my big thing going to this game is the Rams, and people don't think about this, they play in LA. They have to travel to what could be the coldest place in football come playoff time.
They're projecting like
the frozen
10 degrees.
The frozen tundra in Lambeau is no joke. It definitely affects the game. Aaron Rodgers has talked about it. He's like, when it's cold, man, the ball feels different. Everything is different. So I could really see Jared Goff having a horrible day in that freezing. He's a California kid, went to school at Cal, plays in LA. Like he's a warm weather quarterback.
No doubt.
Coming that cold, Rodgers has been playing in it. He's used to it. He said he hates it, but he's used to it. He can still sling that thing. We saw him against the Titans in a blizzard.
He was a warm weather guy too, though.
He was, but he's been playing in Green Bay for so long.
100%.
In a blizzard against the Titans, he threw 3 touchdowns, almost like 300 yards. He can play in the cold. I really think that's going to have an effect on this game. And I'm going to take the Packers. If I'm throwing a score out, probably 31-17, something like that. I think the Packers win.
We're not too far off. I was saying 28-17. I think their offense isn't going to be as explosive as we've seen because they've been off for 2-3 weeks now. So I think they'll have a little hiccups coming out of the gate. But I agree with damn near everything you said. Like Jared Goff, one with the quarterback. Well, you're coming around, bro. You've been listening to the podcast.
Is that what's going on?
That's definitely what's going on. But he's a warm weather quarterback with a surgically repaired thumb. No real feature back. Obviously, Cam Akers is good. Darrell Henderson is good. They have a third guy that's
Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown, that's right. He's produced. So I think that's going to be the X factor if the Packers do drop it. But if I had to put a spread on it, I would take Packers giving 3.5, maybe giving 5.5.
Yeah.
But I expect it's going to be a game. I don't expect a blowout.
Listen, if you're a Rams fan, what you're hoping happens is Ramsey takes away Adams, and you have to make Lazard or Scantling or Tony, one of these guys who aren't stars, step up for the Packers. And that could have to happen. Adams could be, maybe Ramsey locks him down, or they throw a little bit of double coverage at him.
Or they throw some Aaron Jones at him. That could fuck some shit up.
But that's what I was about to get. Don't forget about Aaron Jones in the backfield, Jamal Williams, and A.J. Dillon. We saw a couple weeks ago have a huge game.
Who's bigger, A.J. Dillon or Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry, but A.J. Dillon's a freaking
tank,
man.
I don't know. A.J. Dillon's – can an NFL player reach out to us and tell us that's played both of them? Like, who's bigger? Because A.J. Dillon's calves are like – the size of us each.
He's ginormous. That running back room is stacked. So it's not just the Aaron Rodgers show. They can run the ball. Now, David Bakatari is out.
Yeah,
that is a huge loss for them. He's the best lineman in the league, arguably biggest contract ever. So that's, when you're going against Aaron Donald and that D-line, that could be troublesome. But I think the Packers will handle business. I think the biggest deal is the Rams traveling to Lambeau. If this was in LA, I think it's a much closer game, but it being in Lambeau gives the Packers a big advantage.
All right. So make your bets off of that, all right?
Yeah.
You heard me?
You use your mind. You don't need me to tell you everything.
Think about it. Watch some games.
Jesus Christ.
The next game, the Baltimore Ravens travel to Buffalo on Saturday.
Woo!
Oh, boy, is this a pick'em.
This game is incredible. I think, from what my mind tells me about you, Seek, I think we're going different ways on this game. I've said in the previous show that I am taking Baltimore. Buffalo's run defense, I believe, was 26 coming into the playoffs for going against that last round against the Colts game. We had a decent run attack against them. It wasn't great, but, they didn't necessarily have to just we don't have the Ravens run game. Them boys are rushing for over 250, it seems like, every game. The rushing attack is ridiculous. And I'm watching the game last week, and it's like, damn, Lamar really can't throw that thing. They're not doing – 50-yard touchdown on Lamar Jackson. The whole game's changed. In a blink of an eye, Lamar can take over a game with his legs. It's scary. And I think what I saw from the Bills' offense against the Colts, while they had big plays and they put up a good amount of points, it wasn't – holy shit, this offense is overwhelming. This offense is overwhelming. I think the Ravens defense is going to have some success. They looked good last week. I think they'll have success this week. I think Allen will make big plays. Stephon Diggs is right behind Devontae Adams this year with receivers. He's been a man amongst boys. It's going to be a very tight game, come down to the end. And honestly, Ravens might have the best kicker in Justin Tucker. It might come down to his leg to win this game.
Come down on a field goal.
And I think, if he's anybody to make it, it's going to be him. I'm going to take the Ravens in a game I think will be 24-21, something like that. Maybe 24-23.
Has to be low scoring. Like has to be low scoring.
Yeah, it's not going to be in the 30s, I don't think.
I am torn because half of me agrees with you, and I can see Lamar coming out, showing out, and getting a dub. But I'm going to go with the head coaching matchup, and I'm going to go with the one that has not won the Super Bowl, and I think Sean McDermott is doing everything in his power to prepare for Lamar Jackson. Tremaine Edmonds has been on top of his game. Expect him to spy Matt Milano. Expect him to be on Mark Andrews. The only issue I can see is if Marlon Humphreys and Marcus Peters take their turns and start strapping Stephon Diggs, this game can get very Baltimore very fast.
That's a great point.
So if I have to choose, I'm going to go with my mind over my heart. I'm picking against them for 2 weeks, but I'm picking Buffalo. Everything tells me to pick Buffalo. The defense is better. Baltimore put it this way: what Buffalo did against Indy, they wanted y'all to run the ball because they're prepared to stop the run, and if you can't run the ball, it's going to fall back on Rivers throwing it, and that kind of fucks you. And I think it's going to be the same thing for Baltimore, where it's going to come to Lamar throwing the ball to questionable receivers and tight ends covered by good safeties and good linebackers. So I don't know, but I'm going Buffalo. I expect it to be another close one, but I'm going to say 27-21 Buffalo. Do not get it fucked up. If you are looking for a spread, this is a pick 'em game. Probably pick who's ever getting the points.
Absolutely. This game is going to be a show, man. That might be excited. The most excited I am for that game.
Oh, definitely the most exciting game. All these other games I feel like we're going the same way now. So we have Sunday. First game is Sunday. I believe it's at 1:00, 1-ish, because you know how the NFL works. We have a set schedule, and then we get to the playoffs, and we like to add 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, all this shit. At 1:25, but the game really starts at 4:43.
It might be on Nickelodeon or Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, Netflix, Nick at Night, Cartoon Network. You don't know.
You don't know what's going with this.
All right. You want to watch these games? You get a TV guide. You need to find
subscribe to everything.
Subscribe to everything right now. But we have the Cleveland Browns going to Kansas City, playing Patrick Mahomes. Odell Beckham has come out and said, "Don't be shocked when these boys win. You heard it here first." Obviously, he's on the team, but how do you feel?
I think, neither of us really gave Cleveland a shot to beat Pittsburgh. And then they came out and dominated Pittsburgh. It's just so hard to think of a way that Cleveland wins this game. Like, if they can run the ball and have the ball, time of possession, and don't turn it over and keep Mahomes on the sideline, like, maybe they can win. Maybe. If they do all those things, maybe they'll win. I just can't see it. The Chiefs with, whether you think rest is a good thing or not for them having the week off, they're going to come in prepared. I don't think they'll be rusty. Mahomes and the boys will be ready to go. Reed's going to have a scheme drawn up. We know that Browns defense stinks. We saw – now, they were playing prevent in the second half. I understand that.
Right.
But we saw Big Ben get the game tight and still throw that thing all over Cleveland. If Big Ben's doing that, what the fuck we think Patrick Mahomes is going to do to y'all? I can see Mahomes having a ridiculous day. Chiefs putting up a lot of points, and Cleveland will fight back at the end. But I'll go 37, maybe even 40. They might hang on Cleveland to maybe 21. I think it's a blowout. Maybe I'll say 28 because I'll score 37-28 Chiefs.
I think this is going to be a better game than advertised. I'm not going to front. They're getting Denzel Ward back. That's going to be big. They're getting Joel Bitonio back on the offensive line. That's going to be big.
Who's Denzel? Why is Denzel Ward coming back big?
He's the warden, bro. That man's a strap. That is a big cornerback right there.
But you cannot play Tyreek Hill man coverage no matter what.
But I don't need to really play man if I play a lot of cover 3. But that man's still going to pop you. He's a good tackler. Even if I do cover 2 and put him in the flats.
I'm just saying it's not like just because you have him back, if you're putting him on Tyreek Hill, that means Tyreek, you can't play man coverage. You can't.
No, I understand. I think I'm saying more of it depends how you scheme it. Because if you're going to try to prevent the big plays and make them do short plays up the field, I expect them to lose because Travis Kelce's going to go up the whole fucking field on you, especially when you have weak linebackers like Sione Takitaki and BJ Goodson, who aren't bums. They're good. No. They've stepped up, but they're not going to be known to strap Travis. Yeah, they're not Darius. They're not going to strap Travis Kelce. They're not like that.
Yeah.
But if you try to give up the big play and you really tell Carl Joseph and Denzel Ward to make sure you know where Tyreek is at all times, maybe you have a better chance than people would think. But That's beside the point because that's not even what I think's going to happen. I think it's going to be a better game because I expect this to be like Houston. I expect the Browns to come out fire and everyone goes, oh my God, what the fuck? It's happening again. They're going to beat them. They're going to beat the 1 seed and the 3 seed. And then they're going to beat the Bills and the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. And everyone's going to panic. And it's going to be the end of the first half. And it's going to be like 24-7. And then it's going to get real dark real quick. And my final prediction is going to be 35-27. Kansas City. And I think it's going to be a late run where Patrick Mahomes shows you who Patrick Mahomes is. Travis Kelce gets wild. Tyreek Hill gets wild. Shit, Mecole Hardman might get wild. Clyde Edwards-Helaire might get wild. Le'Veon Bell might. It might get really scary.
Is Helaire out? Isn't Helaire out?
I don't know if he's out because they said he's been making strides with this. He has 2 injuries. He has a hip and a back.
I thought he was like done for the year.
I don't see. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I read something that he's making progress. I don't know if that means
either
way.
L. Bell's been getting a bigger role with them as the weeks went on, so he'll have an impact on the game. I think
it's all gonna depend. It's all gonna depend on a few players: Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, and Baker Mayfield. Those are the 4 people that need to show up for the Browns.
Yeah, Baker's gonna need to stick with Mahomes like he did in college.
Ooh, you think he got some confidence like that? Like, oh, that's the boy to try to replace me at Texas
Boy, that's
Tech.
the boy at Texas Tech that we dueled that one time.
You remember when I beat you out for the starting job and Cliff chose me, and then I went to Oklahoma? Bitch.
Bitch boy.
But hey man, I do think it's gonna be I got Kansas City.
I will say this. I hope Cleveland wins.
If Cleveland's getting a lot of points, pick Cleveland. If Cleveland's getting like 10.5, I'm picking Cleveland.
Because, especially like if it was that big of a number, because I'll cover back the door probably on that. But if Cleveland were to beat Kansas City, man.
We got wild. If we get Bills, Browns.
The world would be on fire. Imagine you get a Ravens-Browns division rival AFC Championship game.
Browns Bucks Super Bowl. Imagine if you heard that like 4 or 5 years ago. Yo, the Browns and Bucks Super Bowl. You'd see that in Madden and be like,
you think Jameis Winston really panned out? Damn, that must have went
you'd
off.
see that in Madden and be like, oh my God, this is so unrealistic. I hate this game.
Exactly. That's the sin you do, and it's like this game's so fucking stupid.
Bro, the Browns are gonna play get the fuck out of it. Tom Brady's gonna be on the Bucks. Like,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Anyway. Speaking of the Bucks, last game, nightcap. The Bucks at the Saints. How are you feeling?
This is a toasty one right here. We've talked about, especially you, have not been on the Saints bandwagon this year. We've obviously said they're a good team, but we don't think they're necessarily great. Now, the one that makes this matchup intriguing is obviously their division rivals. They beat the shit out of Tampa twice this year. So you think, this might be a bad matchup for Tampa. But I wasn't impressed with the Bears win. Offense didn't necessarily look good. Defense looked good. Offense didn't. I expect Brady and the Bucks, and you've said this, extremely hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. And I can't see Tom Brady losing to anybody 3 times in 1 year. I think Brady and the Bucks march in that dome. And it ain't going to be a weather problem. They'll be all right. They're going to light up the scoreboard. It'll be a tough back and forth game because Tampa, for some reason, like they'll want to blow somebody out, but they'll let it be close, like they did last week against Washington.
Right.
It'll be close. I'll probably go 27-24 Bucks, Tampa. Or maybe 27-21 Bucks.
I like that score, actually. I'm picking the Bucks too, because I'm gonna be consistent. Like, look, can I see Tom Brady going home and everyone have like that's gonna be a great podcast if that happens. Like, y'all gonna hear a great episode if Brady loses and we have to ask all the Belichick questions again.
Yeah,
do all that. But I'm gonna stay consistent. I think it's very hard to beat teams 3 times in a row. I understand you have home field advantage, but that is not going to matter against Tom Brady and a division opponent. I think Antonio Brown is getting rolling at the right time. I still think the Saints are kind of limping. They're not down. They're up. They're trying to fight. But you see, he's covering his body. Drew covering his body a little bit. Like he throwing little jabs out there. He's doing his little thing. But I'm gonna pick the Bucks. I'm gonna say the same score because I do like that score. I do expect it to be closer. I don't expect it to be a blowout because Saints did blow them out multiple times. But if they do beat them 3 times, they're gonna have a lot of momentum going into the championship game. And then I can sit back and say, hey, these aren't the same old Saints I've been seeing.
If the Saints beat the Bucks, I think it's safe to say that the curse or whatever you want to call it's happened to the Saints the past couple of years. They dispelled that by making it to NFC Championship game. Unless something wild were to happen, like a Stephon Diggs type moment against the Packers or whatever. Like if something wild like that happens, then but
hey,
if they make the NFC Championship.
Hey, my pops love saying the NFL hates the Saints. So maybe Antonio Brown dives for the end zone. He might have fumbled, but they give it to him.
Hey, did you know that the Saints are, first of all, have the least cap room in the NFL and are like in the negative by millions and millions of dollars? Like soon enough, they have to dismantle their whole team.
Oh, of course. I mean, after Drew Brees retires, that's going to free up some money. Who else can they get rid of?
But they're like if Brees retires, they'll have like $0 available. They just won't be in the negative anymore. Like their cap space is bad. So like
Jameis.
After this era, if James doesn't work out or Taysom Hill, we could see the Saints struggle bad for a couple of years.
That'd be sad too, because we know how this team came up. Like the Saints used to suck. A lot of people don't know that, but the way they rose after Katrina happened has been really great for that franchise. And I'd like to see them stay relevant because New Orleans is definitely all those down south teams. You know, they're big football cities and big football cities. Like, let's be honest. Like, yes, a lot of football players come out of Jersey. There's not really a lot of people playing football in New York. Like you gotta be in New York State. There's not many football fields in the city. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah, I think so.
So like everyone's big football. The whole country's big football, but you do have to understand that those down south teams. It's good for the NFL to keep them very like Atlanta sucking's bad. That whole division should be good. Like Florida,
you would think.
So, hey man, but. I think that's all the big news. I feel like we should just go to quick hitters and give y'all. It's not a quick episode, but it's about the same as last time. You know, tell us.
Decent.
We've been on a 2-hour streak. Have y'all enjoyed the 2 hours? Very more in depth. You know, a lot more joking around, a lot more relaxing.
Yeah.
For y'all, you're probably not gonna get the visuals per usual because people are busy. But I'm gonna tell you this: I got a Kevin Durant jersey in the background. I got 5 Nets hats. I'm wearing a Nets jersey to show my guys some love. And get ready. My first quick hitter. It's going to have to do with hockey, and Tom's not going to say anything. Hopefully he can watch tonight at 7:00 on either MSG or MSG Plus and watch the Islanders beat the Rangers to start the season. Matthew Barzal is going to win the Hart. Ilya Sorokin is going to win the Calder. Ryan Pulock is going to win the James Norris. These are
I don't know what the fuck you're saying right now.
These are 3 people on the Islanders, and that is Rookie of the Year, Defenseman of the Year, and MVP. So we're going to sweep all the awards. We're going to get Coach of the Year with Barry Trotz, and I believe this is Jack Adams, if I'm not mistaken. Hockey fans, correct me. And Lou Lamorielle's going to get Executive of the Year again, and we're going to hoist the Stanley Cup, and y'all can hold my you-know-whats.
Okay. So the Islanders are going to be back being a good team? Is that what you're telling me?
We were in the Eastern Conference. Hey, yo, ESPN disrespected us. We were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. We lost in 6. Okay. It was either 6 or 7 games. Okay. It's very detrimental, so I try to forget. But either 6 or 7 games. Bleacher Report ranked us at 16. How are you a top 4 team? You don't lose anybody noteworthy. We lost 1 defenseman in Devon Taves, and we replaced our backup goalie with a better goalie, but we're worse than 15 other teams all of a sudden.
That's disrespectful.
Report needs new hockey
But-
guys.
But we know ESPN lists are shitty.
ESPN was better. ESPN had us at 10. Now I didn't like it, but at least we're at least a top 10 team.
All right.
But it is what it is. All right. So quick hitters before we get the hell out of here. Panthers hired the Seahawks VP to be their new GM. Shout out to him. Mac Jones, Patrick Surtain, Christian Barmore. See, I got to watch more on him too. That's the D lineman. And Jalen Waddle all have declared for the draft. Shout out to them. Hope they all become first-round picks.
As Doug Peterson is the second favorite under Salah, Bob Salah.
Yeah.
Who are the Jets hiring right now?
I think the Matt Campbell thing's over. I don't think it's going to be Matt Campbell. I don't think that's happening. I would love Robert Saleh. I'm not going to lie.
I would too. I think that's good.
But him leaving the building gives me it makes me nervous because you came in for the second interview.
Interviews. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you left. Like you left without a deal. So that makes me think that he's kind of holding out to see what Detroit says.
Okay.
But look, just can't really go in a wrong option. I wouldn't be a fan of Arthur Smith right now. I'm not against it, but it's not great. I love Bieniemy. I love Saleh. I'd be okay with Peterson, even though I'm not thrilled about it. But there's options they can go. My trust is in Big Joey Douglas. I almost said Big Joey D. And
hey yo, I got a quick hitter for you. UFC is back to start the new year.
Yes,
and I believe it's on either CBS or ABC, right on cable television.
Oh yeah, oh my God,
you got Max Holloway, and Calvin Kattar in the main event. Dog, if any MMA UFC fans listen to this is about to be. If you don't like UFC or you don't know much about it and you want to know what it's about, watch this fight this weekend. These boys are about to throw down two guys who love to stand up and swing. It's going to be a great fight, man. I feel like Max Holloway's getting the short end of the stick because, he beat Volkanovski in that last fight, and he should be the champion right now. And now they're throwing him to a dog who I personally think is going to beat Holloway. I think Holloway's amazing, and he should be the champ. But styles make fights, and the fight game is not, A plus B doesn't equal C in the fight game. So Kattar has ridiculous power and ridiculous stand-up. So I think Cater's going to win, but it's going to be a great fight, so tune into that.
Yeah, well, A plus B doesn't equal C, but fist meets face meets ground is a very big equation in the UFC.
That means KO. That means KO. And then next weekend is Conor.
And Poirier.
I mean, and also, I got to throw this out there. This Sunday, I turned 23 years old. I mean, come on.
Oh, yo, shout out to my man. His Jordan year. Now, he's going to say his Bron year. He's going to say his Bron year.
I can say my Bron. Yeah, it's my Bron year.
It's his Bron year. I know what he was saying.
It's my Bron year. I get football on my birthday. I'm a little, I shouldn't say happy that the Colts lost, but if the Colts lost on my birthday, if they didn't play on Saturday, they played on Sunday.
Depressing.
Ooh, that would be hurtful. So, yeah. Your boy's 23 this Sunday. What up?
Hey, yo, send my man some drinks. Do what y'all got to do. Take care of my boy. You feel me?
Come on.
Yo, do what everybody. Send some download for his birthday. But other than that, shout out Chuck Pagano. He retired. Good career there.
Yeah.
Raiders got Gus Bradley to be their defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn to the Cowboys. Seahawks got rid of Brian Schottenheimer. Steelers fired their OC. Connor says Khabib scurried away in retirement.
Yeah, I watched that interview today. He was like, they're like, do you still want Khabib? Is that the main fight you're looking? Because, Connor was saying crazy shit. He was like, yeah, I'm fighting Poirier, and then I want to fight everybody else in the division. I'm staying at 155. I'm about to wipe out the division. And I'm also fighting Manny Pacquiao at the end of the year. I'm doing everything this year. I'm about to fight fucking 7 times, it sounded like. He's like, I'm beating Gaethje, Oliveira, Chandler, Ferguson, and I'm going to fight Manny Pacquiao at the end of the year. I was like, damn.
What?
Connor, you about You about to fight at least 5 times. So, and then Dana came out today and said,
he's been listening to Young Boy. I know he has. That man's choosing violence. That man is choosing violence every
Dana
day.
White said Connor's trying to do something that hasn't been done before. That's what he said today in an interview. So Connor might be coming on some crazy shit if he gets by Poirier.
You think it could be winning an MMA bout and winning a boxing match in the same year? I could see that. Maybe not 7 fights, but that's definitely something I could see.
Well, he's even said that the fight against Poirier is also happening because Poirier is a southpaw and Manny Pacquiao is a southpaw. So it helps him kind of get a little feel for that. So,
Hey.
I don't know, man. McGregor might be on some crazy shit coming up.
I'll be tuned in, man. That man is a dog. I'll fuck with him.
Yeah, he is.
And people have expressed interest in PJ Tucker. That seems like everything. I don't think there's anything else to talk about.
Let me think. Anthony Costanzo retired from the Colts.
Oh yeah, shout out to Anthony Costanzo.
That's a big loss for us, man. He's a Pro Bowler. He was a big part of offensive line. Teammates loved him. We're gonna miss him, man. We're gonna need to figure out something for that position. I don't know if sliding somebody over or doing whatever, but we need to figure something out. And
there should be someone at 23. There should be, or like 25.
I think we'll fill it, but Costanzo's a beast, man. It's not gonna be what it was. And we told Philip Rivers today, go enjoy a month off, and we'll meet in a month about your future. So whatever that means.
A month. That means 3-4 of his kids can get some quality time. For the rest of the other 12 might have to wait till next month after the deal. But
we also said Jacob Eason is a big part of our future, our backup, our third-string quarterback we drafted last year. So.
You retweeted the Matt Stafford picture. I saw that.
But I retweeted the Stafford picture. Get him out of Detroit. Come to Indy. We'll be Super Bowl contenders with you, Stafford.
Still rumors about Deshaun to the Jets, trying to keep it interesting.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, but that's fine.
It's not.
Andre Johnson coming out and saying, Deshaun, get the fuck out of Houston, bro. Stand your ground. Get the fuck out.
Yo, the funniest part about that I literally learned this morning, that's Andre Johnson's first tweet that wasn't an ad for something he represents since 2009.
That's how strongly he feels about his hate for the Texans.
This man didn't say anything for basically the whole decade. And then he came out and was like, yeah, Deshaun got to go. Like Houston, everything that boy Jack's done in there fucking sucks. But,
yep.
Hey, man, I'm ready to sign out. How you feeling?
Yes, sir. Time to call it quits for today.
All right. So like, comment, subscribe, download, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube, everything y'all want to do. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Like, we ain't Nike up here, but just do it.
Like checks over stripes, man. Just do it. Like, that's it.
Just do it. Don't give me an excuse. Just do it. Do it right now. I'm going to keep talking. We will drag this shit out until you do it. Nah, I'm playing. All right, so we'll catch y'all. Live, laugh, love. Positivity. All the time. Everywhere. Adios. Peace.
Peace.